Hello and good evening guys, and welcome to the Limbo Game Talk. Now this is a video I promised to do when I finish Limbo, so this is me delivering on my promise. And this is the first of what I would like to become a series that we do every time after we finish a longer game. This is just a place where I can basically kind of ramble about my feelings about the game. It's not gonna be a full-blown review, but it might be something you enjoy, and then I would like to engage in a discussion with you guys in the comments of what you thought of this game, or if I left anything out, please let me know. But since this is the first one of the series, I'm just gonna give you kind of an overview of how it's gonna go. I'm gonna start with just some very basic facts about the game, and then I'm gonna talk about the visuals and atmosphere, gameplay, story, and in the end I'm gonna finish it with my feelings and if I would recommend that game to you. So, let's get to it, shall we? Limbo is a bleak and morbid 2D platformer and puzzle-solving game developed by Playdead and initially released in 2010. It became quite a hit with ratings such as 9 out of 10 on Steam. Now, coming into this, I had fairly limited info about the game. I have watched playthroughs of its newer iteration, if you want to call it that, inside, and I liked it. So, following advice from Playdead fans, I decided to give Limbo a go and bought it during a Steam sale. Let's talk about the presentation first. I really like the art design of Limbo. It uses a 2.5D perspective-based black and white graphics, which work well. Not only are they able to highlight certain objects or events on the screen in a way that would be impossible with standard graphics, but it also helps create and establish this bleak and oppressive atmosphere they were clearly going for. And trust me when I tell you that the atmosphere in this game is heavy. Whether you are walking in the forest filled with giant trees or running in the rain with sights of huge machinery in the background, Limbo does a great job of making you feel minuscule and as if you don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But that's not the only feeling. Throughout the entire playthrough, I couldn't shake the feeling as if though I was invading this world. Kind of like when in the original Dark Souls you finally reach Anor Londo and you feel like a thief in someone else's house being attacked by those who try to protect it. This is something Limbo lets you know of very early. From the get-go, from the moment you stand up and begin your journey, the world will remind you over and over again that you are not the top of the food chain here. You will die a lot. Anything from being killed by a giant spider to being attacked by seemingly native residents via traps, Limbo will give you a feeling of constantly running from something. This, in my opinion, ties well with some of the more somber moments the game gives you, when after an intense chase sequence you get a minute to just breathe out and relax, with nothing but the sound of raindrops hitting metal roofs somewhere in the dark above you. Limbo lays it on heavy from you from the get-go, and it is very easy to get immersed into this bleak and dark world. Now, undoubtedly the visuals are fantastic, however the gameplay does have a few setbacks, at least in my opinion. Let's start with the positive. The game feels super smooth and the jumps and leaps are very well made, often leaving you with the "am I gonna make it?" question mark feeling, but that's really all I can say there. The movement feels sluggish and is often infuriatingly all over the place. Sometimes your character will just decide to climb down from a box you were just standing on and die for no reason. Other times he refuses to hurry the F up even though you're being chased by a gigantic spider. The Limbo dude kinda just waddles all around the place, and it often feels difficult to get him to do what you want him to do. And another gripe I have with gameplay, definitely a small one, but it still annoyed me in the beginning, and it's the absolute and utter lack of any kind of tutorial. Now, listen, this works in some games, but here its only purpose seemed to be prolonging the gameplay. I mean, in the beginning, there's a scene where you are required to pull this mine wagon thing, except the game never tells you that you actually have the ability to pull stuff. So I spent a good 5 minutes running around the place, and I was forced to open the menu, go to options and controls to figure out that, oh, I can actually press control and use it as my action button. Good job, game. This is not the proper way to do the no hand holding type of scenario, right? If the player has to go to the controls menu to figure out what he can and cannot do, that aspect of your game just doesn't work. Let's talk about the story a bit more. And funny enough, there's actually not much to talk about. The story is very bare bones in this game, practically non-existent. However, that's not me complaining. I really like games that allow you to have your own interpretation of what's happening, and Limbo definitely does that. The downside to this, however, is that you will most likely not get very attached to the main character, and you won't really care about what happens to him. I mean, let's be honest here, the dude is gonna die on like every single puzzle, multiple times, in pretty hard ways. So don't expect this to be a super hard-wrenching game. And to add to that, none of the other characters, actually I don't even remember what kind of characters there were. I remember that one girl, but really there's never any interaction with any other character, which seems to work fine with the Limbo setting. It's just something not to get your hopes up for. So let's finish this off to get this one out quicker. Did I enjoy Limbo? Yes. Despite its sometimes stubborn control, the game plays very well. It feels smooth, the jumps are fine, the puzzles are very well designed. I didn't touch on this too much because there isn't much to say, but Limbo presents you with interesting mechanics. There's definitely a new mechanic for every puzzle that you encounter, and that is something that kept me going for about 4 hours of game time, maybe 3 that it took me to finish Limbo. The visuals look amazing despite their simplicity, and the atmosphere, I have to admit, is hands down probably the best atmosphere I ever experienced in a 2D platformer game. Wow. So guys, these have been pretty much my thoughts on the game. There is most likely more to say, but I want to keep this first one short and kind of concise. But I definitely want to hear what you guys thought of the game, and if you have any questions to ask me, something I didn't cover, or you want to add something that you felt during your playthrough, make sure to put that down in comments. But for now guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to check back in for more, and I'll make sure to make more videos, and I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. See you in the next video.